you won't get rotation. Nowhere in the nation. Program directors and DJs ignored. Just as we say top 4, and top 30, top 20, and top 10. Until you put more hip-hop in.
We need media of our own. We need media of our own. We agreed to found an action movement and to call it Dignity. We agreed to found an action movement and to call it Dignity. We agreed to found an action movement and to call it Dignity.
From Pacifica, this is Democracy Now!
We've come upon the pharmacy right across from the General Hospital in Port-au-Prince. And there's a body laying in the road. I don't know if it's a pharmacist, a doctor, a nurse, one of the patients. One of the people here who lives right in the neighborhood said it's a doctor. This is the major pharmacy where people come to get their medicines. And they say there are many more that are buried inside. We just saw a head and some fingers in rubble. We're right across from the hospital where there are more than 10,000 U.S. soldiers. This is Haiti.
As a powerful aftershock hits Haiti, we'll get a report from Amy Goodman in Port-au-Prince. Hundreds of thousands of people are still without food or shelter. We'll also take a look at the Guantanamo suicides, how the Bush and Obama administrations have covered up the murders of 3 prisoners at a secret black site facility in 2006. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Anjali Kamath. Haiti has been hit with a powerful new earthquake just over a week after the initial quake that killed tens of thousands of people. The latest aftershock hit just after 6 a.m. this morning, registering 6.1 on the Richter scale. Thousands of people were seen flooding the streets of Port-au-Prince, but it remains unclear what damage the new quake may have caused. The quake struck as the official death toll hit 70,000, but it's widely estimated the actual toll could top 200,000 and even higher. Relief efforts have yet to approach meeting the dire humanitarian needs. In a statement, the medical relief group Partners in Health said some 20,000 people are dying each day who could be saved by surgery. The World Food Programme says it's handed out more than 250,000 ready-to-eat food rations amidst estimates some 3 million people are in need. The agency says it needs to hand out 100 million food rations in the next month, but it's on pace to have only 16 million available. Earthquake survivors continue to receive medical care in makeshift clinics around Haiti. In a video release, Doctors Without Borders anesthetist Dean Marcheben described the magnitude of the amputations being performed.
I imagine that not since the Crimean War have surgeons seen and amputated so many limbs, perhaps the Civil War in the United States, but we're talking about a situation that I've certainly never seen in my experience.
Military presence continues to rise in Haiti. On Tuesday, hundreds of new U.S. troops arrived in Port-au-Prince, bringing the total U.S. contingent to upwards of 11,000. The UN Security Council has also authorized a new deployment of some 3,500 additional troops. On Tuesday, desperately needed aid began reaching residents of Léogâne, the epicenter of last week's earthquake. Earthquake survivors flocked around Marines handing out supplies from a helicopter.
We're trying to help these people out as far as food and water, supply that their medical supply that they need. They're all complaining that, all their houses, they're right now living out in the street. They got no water, no food.
We'll have more from Haiti after headlines. In Massachusetts, Republican Scott Brown has won an upset victory over Democrat Martha Coakley in a special election for the Senate seat vacated by the late Edward Kennedy. Brown's victory will leave Democrats in nominal control of 59 seats, one short of the 60 needed to overcome Republican filibusters. The result could immediately derail President Obama's push for health care reform, which Kennedy described as the cause of his life. Addressing cheering supporters, Brown said he would vote against the current legislation.
One thing is very, very clear as I travel throughout the state. People do not want the $1 trillion health care plan that is being forced is being forced on the American people. And this bill is not being debated openly and fairly. It will raise taxes. It will raise taxes. It will hurt Medicare. It will destroy jobs and run our nation deeper into debt.
In addition to a stance on health care reform, Brown has voiced support for the torture technique known as waterboarding on foreign prisoners and has also opposed a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants unless they first leave the United States. Coakley began the race as a heavy favorite but was criticized for what some characterized as a lackluster campaign. In her concession speech, Coakley invoked the words of the late Senator Kennedy.
Okay, so this is the deal. Although our campaign ends tonight, we know that our mission continues and our work goes on. I am heartbroken at the result, and I know that you are also.
The Supreme Court has thrown out a lower court ruling ordering a new sentencing for the journalist and former Black Panther Mumia Abu-Jamal. The decision orders the Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Philadelphia to revisit its ruling that Jamal deserves a new sentencing because of flawed jury instructions. The Supreme Court cited its own recent decision in an Ohio death row case it says raises similar issues. Abu-Jamal was convicted for the 1981 killing of a white police officer following a controversial trial before a predominantly white jury. Abu-Jamal contends the case was marred with racial bias, including the deliberate exclusion of blacks from the jury. If resentenced, Abu-Jamal will face either death or life in prison without parole. 8 people are dead following a shooting spree Tuesday in Virginia. Police say they believe they've cornered the suspect in an area near the crime scene. An American-educated Pakistani woman has gone on trial on charges of trying to kill U.S. personnel in Afghanistan. Afia Siddiqui is accused of trying to open fire on several FBI agents who had come to question her. The FBI also says she had documents on making chemical bombs and a list of potential targets in the United States. But she's only being charged for the shooting incident. Afghan witnesses say U.S. personnel shot Siddiqui following a misunderstanding that saw her initially asking them for help. Siddiqui herself was the only person shot during the incident with the agents. On Tuesday, Siddiqui was removed from the courtroom after yelling out that she had been tortured at a secret prison during her captivity. Outside the courtroom, a group of supporters picketed the trial.
And that's what the judge appealed to the judge. Go by the book. We don't need any favor being a Muslim, being a woman. No. Go by the book. The values of this country. Not be afraid of that some guy is a terrorist. Some guy is Al-Qaeda, some guy is the Taliban. His time is over. Bush is over.
Siddiqui disappeared in March 2003, just weeks after the FBI announced it sought her for questioning. There has been speculation she was captured by Pakistani troops and jailed at the U.S.-run Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. And the Israeli government has deported an American journalist after detaining him last week. The journalist, Jared Malson, is the English-language editor for the Palestinian Ma'an news agency. He was detained after Israeli customs officials blocked him from entering Israel and deemed him a security threat. In a statement, the International Federation of Journalists criticized what it called, quote, an intolerable violation of press freedom. It added, quote, the ban of entry in this case appears to be as a reprisal measure for the journalist's independent reporting, and that is unacceptable. The Israeli newspaper Haaretz, meanwhile, is reporting the Israeli government has stopped granting work visas for most foreign non-governmental organizations in the occupied territories. Israel is now only authorizing tourist visas, which bar the NGO employees from working. The groups affected include Oxfam, Save the Children, and Doctors Without Borders. In Afghanistan, a new survey estimates Afghans have paid around $2.5 billion in bribes over the past year. The figure amounts to nearly 1/4 of Afghans' gross national product. According to the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, more than half the Afghan population reported paying a bribe to an Afghan official last year. And the Pentagon says it will investigate a Michigan-based military contractor found to have stamped Bible verse references on combat rifle sites used by U.S. troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. The firm, Trigicon, has been criticized for possibly violating laws barring proselytizing by U.S. troops. The references are stamped on equipment allowing troops to see enemies in the dark of night. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Anjali Kamath with Amy Goodman in Haiti.